Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, I want to do an update on Palantir stock, so Palantir Technology, ticker symbol PLTR, which if you follow my channel, you know that I have done a previous update on actually the price action, warning investors that actually what was going on was a setup of a descending triangle, and the stock was at that moment, it was the 20th of April, it was around the $20.8 per share, right? The big support, the green area. Then I told you that this kind of setup is very familiar in actually technical analysis, and what happens is that we could see following bounces, okay, but as the price continues to bounce from this green area over there, actually those bounces are getting weaker and weaker. So in today's video guys, I want to do an update on the graph, trying to see what is going on, because in my opinion Palantir is now very near to a key point, right? So the next 20 days, 30 days will be, in my opinion, important for the stock and also for the price action, right? So we are gonna take a look at that. The only thing I ask you guys, as always, is please leave me another like. It's very important and I thank you for it. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. Alright guys, so if you enjoy this kind of more technical analysis videos, updates, I can do them without any problem. I like them, so I do this kind of technical analysis for myself, so to me it doesn't cost anything to actually upload it in the channel if you enjoy it. I usually bring only fundamental analysis because I do not know whether you actually like this kind of stuff or not. But in my opinion, it's useful, okay? At least for me, it's useful. I do not like to just go on and read the news, reporting the news. I'm not a reporter, right? So this channel is not a news channel, right? I don't like to do this kind of stuff. In my opinion, for me at least, it's not useful, because if I post news, I know that I can get views, but in my opinion, the value you get is very limited, because when a news comes out, what happened is that the price of something has already been moving, okay, and you're late. Making money with news and hype, it's almost impossible, okay, especially now that, in my opinion, the stock market, it will not be as it was in 2020, right? I have already talked to you about that. It's just my opinion, you know, I might be wrong, but my idea is that now the stock market is coming back to be sort of a boring stock market. Up and downs, a little bit of turbulences, especially as we can see like today as well, with all this kind of stuff that's going on. I mean, today we have seen another jump in the T-bill, actually hitting again the resistance at 1.68, especially with Biden's tax plan, okay, all this kind of stuff, which, you know, I'm not political, I literally do not give a damn about that. I'm not even a US citizen, right? So I don't care, but the fact is that objectively, those kind of stuff, even though it looks like that they're made for rich people, so I personally, I'm not rich, so it doesn't affect me. I'm not even in the US, so it doesn't affect me twice. But the fact is that the market do not like this kind of stuff, and so we can see turbulences simply because rich people, even though they are like 1% of the population, the problem is that they control the majority of the stock market, equity, real estate. So whenever you go to touch them, well, the market actually doesn't like that very much. Anyway, when it comes to Palantir, actually what we have seen since the previous video that I did on the 20th of April is actually a bounce back, right? So very similar to this one that I actually put on the graph. And the fact is that this bounce actually is weaker than the previous one, exactly as I expected, but it's weaker than I was expecting, right? Because it didn't even touch the negative trend line of this triangle, but it stopped on the 50 moving average, which is another important level, by the way, especially in the daily price action of assets. And as we can see now, we have today a significant pullback from that level. So now the question is this little bounce already in his pulling back phase, or maybe it's just a day and we can actually go on and try to touch once again this downtrend line. Now, in my opinion, here, Palantir, together with the market, but Palantir especially, is showing the kind of weakness that I was telling you before, that I warned in the previous video. I tried to warn, because the fact is that we can have all the hype that we want, but the market tells the rules, right? And as of now, we have a stock which I like it, right? You know that I own a small position. Is not my full position because I am waiting to buy more, I hope at cheaper prices. But we are coming from madness, right? We are coming from 2020 madness. Here the stock was like to the moon, right? So the meme stock, but this yellow part over there, in my opinion, is just pure exaggeration. Now we are at a point where the market is actually coming back to be something more normal. And what we have is that actually all the prices of a lot of stocks, they have been coming back to a certain levels that are more appropriate actually for the business itself. So if you follow my channel, you know that for Palantir, actually I gave you the fair price of around $27. But then I also showed you how this particular scenario is obviously more on the bullish side for Palantir, because we cannot deny it. It implies a 34% growth on average during the next 9 years. So this is the case where actually Palantir continues to be successful and gain both in governments and enterprises, and it also scales, right? So this is a scenario that we could say, yes, okay, today Palantir is undervalued, yes, but this is a scenario that actually is even more bullish than the guideline that they gave, right? So 4.6 billion by 2025 instead of 4, as they said. So this is bullish biased, I would say. And I told you how the market, I will not be surprised to see lower prices. And here I gave you with margin of safety 25%, we see a $20.37 per share actually. It will not be something too strange to see Palantir going below the $20 level. And here is what the price action, it continues to tell us. So it continues to give us sort of warnings, right? So in case that happen, do not be surprised. I have already explained in the previous video that, in my opinion, if that, what I mean, happens, right? So bounces, and then maybe breaking down a bit, okay? So closing this triangle, descending triangle pattern, something like when you throw a stone on the lake, right? So I made this example. I think that it's pretty clear to understand, right? Just the stone bounces strongly the first time, then weaker the second time, weaker and weaker up to a certain point when it goes below the water. And the reality is that what we are seeing right now is exactly that. So we see the price today is continuing to actually getting rejected. This line over there is very important, right? So as long as the price continues to stay inside this triangle and getting compressed, the likelihood to break below the support level over there is getting higher. Now, it's all likelihood. This is technical analysis. It's like that. I cannot tell you I am 100% sure about that. This is just what the price action is showing. Now, what can change actually this price action of Palantir remaining inside the triangle? What can be a catalyst in a good or bad way for Palantir. The date you want to actually keep an eye on are the earnings. 11th of May. Actually, Palantir yesterday confirmed that the announcement is on that day. Now, the week that will go through those earnings, in my opinion, it will be very important. Is where Palantir's price can actually see a change, right? Something, take a decision. Because what can move Palantir is just pure numbers. So earnings will be extremely important. It's where we will see if actually Palantir can keep up with what they are planning to do, which in my opinion, yes, earnings will be quite great, right? But especially what the market will take a look is the stock-based compensation, because the market do not want to see that high level of stock-based compensation continue, right? So the market wants to see that fact is something that has happened once just because Palantir went public, but now it has to stop, right? Because they cannot continue to dilute shareholders in that base. Earnings will obviously be interesting. The 11th of May is a date that you want to keep an eye on, and it's probably can be the event, something that can make the price action shift and go or down or above from this descending triangle. In terms of likelihood, guys, as long as we stay inside, the likelihood is higher to break below than above. Okay, but something that they say, if they show great numbers, actually they can change it, right? But in case we go below, the next target, it's pretty clear, and it's where, in my opinion, Palantir can be very, very interesting long term. This level over there, from $19 to $17, 17.5. Overall, guys, I hope you find the video interesting. Leave me down a comment. Actually, tell me, do you like this kind of technical stuff, technical updates or not? Subscribe to the channel if you want. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.